Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Talk Supercars. I know it has been a long time since you've heard my voice. And also, I deeply apologise if you can hear a car noise in the background. I am currently driving, but this is really the only time I can actually fit this in. So I'll try to speak up as much as I can. But Supercars is in shambles, big shambles. This is just going to be a massive rant, basically. Not a proper podcast, video, whatever you want to call it. Depends on if you're watching or listening, or both. This is just going to be a off the like. I have no script in front of me or anything. It's just going to be completely improved. What the hell? Improved. So bear with me here. So if you do keep up to date with Supercars, I have been trying my very best to do so. You may or may not be aware that Supercars are in shambles at the moment and have been for quite some time now. But I feel like the events of Sydney Motorsport Park has really put the icing on the cake. So if you're not aware about Sydney Motorsport Park, about the controversial stuff that happened along that weekend, well, a lot of inconsistent penalties were given out during that weekend. We saw Cam Borders get an unsafe pit release penalty, which was, I think, 5 seconds. But the thing about that is, and it really bothers me, no contact with another car was occurred. Normally, a penalty like that is given if a car makes contact with another one coming from the fast lane. All they did was drop Waters literally right in front of one of the Red Bulls that were coming in, but they didn't make contact whatsoever. But yet he still got a penalty, which was ridiculous. And you can hear the frustration in the team radio with Cam Waters. He was a bit off his lid about it, complaining about how stupid the sport is and it's a complete joke. And in honesty, he has every right to say that, because I got to be honest. As much as I love Supercars, I love the racing. I've always have. It is a joke at the moment. It is a complete joke. The fact that penalties are given out inconsistently as well is ridiculous. The parity issues, there's just a whole heap of problems not being addressed properly. Supercars isn't listening to the fans and drivers and teams. They really need, more importantly than the fans, they need to knuckle down with listening to what the drivers and teams are saying, especially the likes of Cam Waters and Shane Van Gisbergen. Because Shane Van Gisbergen has also agreed with Cam Waters' comments over the weekend as well. And obviously, if you're not aware, Shane Van Gisbergen has announced that he has intentions on leaving Supercars at the end of the year to race NASCAR full time, which, in my opinion, is the best move for his career moving forward. I don't think it's really as great as he is of a driver in Supercars and great for the sport. He's better off in NASCAR. At least he'll probably enjoy himself a lot more there. Obviously, we saw him win in Chicago, and of course, he's going there with going to Indy with Brody Kostecki racing there. And he's also, I think today he announced that he's also racing on Noval a week prior to the Indy race. So that's going to be exciting. I reckon he's going to be quite dominant once again, or definitely up there. He's just insane. But yeah, even he was agreeing with Gisbergen. Of course he was agreeing, because he is Gisbergen. But yeah, of course he was agreeing with Waters. And it's quite embarrassing, actually. Supercars should be embarrassed to hear their drivers saying that, because they're obviously upset. And these are the people who make the sport. These are the people that fans love to tune into TV to watch every weekend in and out. And if they're not going to enjoy it and they're pissing off, like going elsewhere, the fan base will also go with them. So that's why Supercars really need to knuckle down and listen to the drivers, listen to people, instead of just doing what they think is best. Because, in honesty, what they think is best is definitely far from. And in saying that as well, shocking news today, but I'm not very surprised about it, is Ford has announced they're cutting, I think, advertising support and their safety car deal with Supercars at the end of the season. So at the moment, I think it's either a Mustang or a Range Rover, one of the two, currently used as a safety car. That will no longer be coming into next year, and rightfully so, because they feel like they're being unfairly treated in the sport. The parity issues is just, it's not great at the moment. There was pretty much only one Mustang in the 10 most of the weekend, and it's just, no matter what they do, they still reckon it's favouring the Camaros, and you can sort of see that as well. It is a giant Camaro fest. Now, I love Camaros, so don't get me wrong. I'm happy, but as an overall fan of the sport, something needs to be done about it. But it is embarrassing. And then another thing is the TV rights. Now, I know it's a bit tricky with TV. Now, currently they've got Channel 7 where it's like barely any racing that is live. They're all just highlights. Now, I don't know their actual dealer who sort of controls that department, whether it's Fox or Seven or Supercars themselves. But they really need, because they need to bring live sport back to free TV. Now, put all the ads that you want. I don't care. Just give people what they want. Let them experience these races for free. And just go back to how they used to do with the Super View, where they had only practices and qualifying wasn't shown on free TV. Like, only the races were. And I don't mind that. I quite like, that's okay. But they really need, if you want to grow the fan base, you really need to spread your sport out. Because, in my opinion, KO is ridiculously priced. And I know, that's not Supercars' fault. But even like with like all Australian motorsport almost now these days are on like paid streaming services. You don't really see much racing on free to air, which is very disappointing. And I do understand that the world is struggling with costs and inflations and all that jazz, but they really, if they want to grow the sport, especially with children and families who aren't into racing as much as others. Like, if you just want like a general person just scrolling through the TV and they see, like a supercar race going on, and they might check it out. This is like a new person, for example. Like, let's say, you're just a general Joe who doesn't know much or anything about racing, just scrolling through Channel 7 to see, what's on, and then they stumble across a live race of supercars. And if they like it, then they might dive into it. They might keep watching and start following the drivers and whatnot. They might actually grow and become a fan. And because these days, if you want to get into supercars, you have to either watch the highlights, which is very limited, and unfortunately that's what I can only do for now, is watch the recaps, which is also why the podcast has sort of stopped momentarily. I do want to get back into that. I'm hoping for Tail and Ben onwards I get back into that, see how we go. But I can only watch the recaps and highlights and stuff. I don't have KO because I've got other priorities in my life that I need to finance. But if you want to get into supercars, unfortunately, you're going to have to spend that money on a sports service, which is ridiculous. And I'm not saying, like I said, it's not completely Supercars' fault with this. Formula One's done that. Every sport pretty much has done that now, where you have to pay to watch. And I just feel like if you, to help grow the fan base, just put it on free to air. Like I said, I know I'm rambling on, and I do apologise for that. I'm just, my brain's in rant mode, and I just got to let it all out. It's all they have to do is for KO, like they can keep KO or Fox, because they got that deal. Like have put all every session live, free, not live to air, no ads, etc. But for the Channel 7 live free air, just put the either some qualifying and then the race on just with ads. That's how they used to do back in the days where it was just Channel 7. And I feel like, they can easily, I'm sure they can come up with an arrangement to do that. But they kind of just care about all about money. Now, obviously, it is all about money, but it's all about putting on a great show. And it's no point putting on a great show if half the people can't even watch it. So that's just another little issue I have with it. But yeah, like also with inconsistencies with penalties and stuff, because it wasn't only just Cam Waters that got the penalty. Shane Van Gisbergen also got a penalty as well for bumping and running and stuff. Now, yeah, it is what it is. But the problem is, pretty much every other driver was doing that. So, and no one else really got penalties, only a few. And it's a bit, it's you put on, I don't know, like you lose a bit of faith for the supercars, and it becomes an embarrassment when you do stuff like that. And also, like the Chev versus Mustang thing, it's not really a that versus that anymore. It's just more about which Chev is the fastest, which is disappointing. But in saying that, though, I'm really happy to see Erebus, leading the championship. By all means, I'm more than happy about that. And in saying that, despite everything, the championship is still very close. Like, there's only, I think, like a 49 point gap between Brody and Brown, or the other way around, or to the Red Bulls. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but the championship is closer than ever again. But unfortunately, they're all literally Camaros, and it's just two Chevy teams probably guaranteed the championship at this point, which is disappointing because I would love to see, we all want to see a Holden versus Ford, like a GM versus Ford battle like we have for generations. And to see only one side, winning is quite disconcerting, and it's quite unfortunate. And I guess I do apologise how crazy and random this is. Like, I haven't actually got a plan. I wasn't even planning on recording this until I saw that article about Ford pulling out of the advertisement and whatnot. I was like, I just have to talk about this because it's just ridiculous. Because I'd love to know what you all think about it. Because I'm sure I'm not the only one that agrees that thinks this way on what needs to be done. And one final thing as well is I just wanted to make a comment about the Barry Ryan. His comments over the weekend, which actually put him in hot water and gave him community service, and he was fined. yes, he shouldn't. Yes, he shouldn't have sworn like in an interview and stuff like that. Especially, I do understand because kids are watching and whatnot, but I do actually have to give him credit for having passion. You don't really see that these days in supercars. He's pretty much one of the only ones that show pure passion, and you gotta. I can see where he's coming from too, because it was in the heat of the moment as well. And he's always been known for being a hothead, so it was just unlucky. But it is what it is. I don't want to get too into detail about that because I don't know the full story, and you know, there's really no point because we all move on. But I just wanted to point out how much I love the passion from him. Yes, he can be quite troublesome, but I give him credit for the passion, like I said. But yeah, that's probably all for me for today. I do apologise; it's a bit of a rant and quite all over the place. I was just in a rant mode. But if you did enjoy it, feel free to hit a follow on Spotify and also subscribe on YouTube if you're tuning in there. Give it a like rating even, and let me know what you think about it too. I'd love to know your thoughts on the whole state of supercars at the moment and what you would love to see done differently. Because it's definitely a conversation starter, that's for sure. Now, final thing for me, I have got a new Instagram page. If you do want to check that out, it's Let's Talk Motorsport. That's where I'll be posting any article, things I make, or any updates in regards to podcasts, videos, etc. Feel free to chuck a follow there. And yeah, I probably aim to bring back Let's Talk Supercars for the Tail and Ben round coming up in a couple of weeks, and F1 debrief potentially when the summer break is over as well, because I have been trying my best to keep up to date. I've just a lot been going on, so I haven't been able to properly keep it up. But feel free to check out those and hit a follow and whatnot, and stay tuned for the next one. Have a good one, and yeah, bye for now.